want to understand from you how you reconcile the administration's climate goals right now with what clearly is a shift in posture around energy and fossil fuels.
Well, the climate goals are very important, and there's no change in that. If anything, seeing what's happening because of our dependence on global markets for oil and to some extent natural gas just emphasizes the importance of making the transition that will shield us from events in Russia, global developments that can negatively impact oil markets. We really want to move and see the need, all of us, the United States and our allies, to move quickly to renewables that will give us a safer and more independent energy picture.
But clearly in the short term, that's not going to work, and clearly there's going to be an effort to push for more fossil fuels. Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan CEO, telling the administration that they need to create a Marshall Plan around fossil fuels and energy. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't really want to get into what happened in a private meeting, but I certainly agree that we are looking very carefully at the global energy situation. We have banned Russian oil imports from the United States, but our dependence isn't very high. We recognize how important Russian oil and natural gas imports are for our European partners, and they recognize and we recognize how important it is to reduce that dependence to the maximum extent possible in the short run, which goes to this morning's announcement by President Biden about our enhanced cooperation on LNG. But it's not possible to completely eliminate that dependence, certainly this year.
Do you think the investor class has to rethink its position on fossil fuels? And I say that only because there has been a real shift towards ESG over the past several years, and whether that idea needs to be suspended to some degree relative to what's happening now and the national security issues that it is either creating or has created.
I don't think that the ESG movement and the emphasis on climate change is creating the problems that we have. If anything, the problem is that we haven't moved as rapidly as we should have. Europe and the United States would be less exposed to the pressures that this conflict is putting on our energy markets if we had greater reliance on renewables. So that remains firmly appropriate as medium and longer term goal. But in the short run, our ability to punish Russia for really the horrific acts that they're committing in Ukraine and to degrade their power and influence in the world economy, it would be greater if there were less dependence on Russian oil.
But in the immediate term,
for substitutes.
One of the things that's happening in the United States, for example, is the SEC just put out a notice about proposals around climate disclosure.
Yes.
Do you think some of those policies shift in terms of either timing or otherwise as a result of what we're seeing right now?
So I was heartened to see the SEC proposal. It's something that the Financial Stability Oversight Council has focused on, our partners around the world and the investing community really want information that can guide their investments. You see increasing number of American investors, including banks, that have commitments to net zero by 2050, and they need the kind of information that's consistent and transparent to let them make investment decisions. Those goals haven't changed. The need for globally comparable information remains a high priority, and I think the SEC has crafted a very good proposal. I was really very pleased to see them put it out.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.